Hello, everyone. Put the mic down. Hello, everyone. This is Lisa again with Inspired Heart Intuitive to have a little chit chat tonight about healing after heartache. We're going to try this again, guys. I'm going to try to ignore the chat. We won't get a bunch of trolls this time. Good Lord. Okay, healing after heartache. Um, Heartache, right? Breakups, all of this wonder, all these things that happen to us. It's not wonderful at the time, but the process of healing after heartache really is all about becoming self-partnered and really looking at the situation, what we brought into it, and how that actually attracted this person. So, there's many reasons, of course, there's the bad stuff, the abuse and all of that. There's also, cheating, all sorts of different things that can happen. And then there's you just wake up one day and you're like, I don't even know this person anymore. Like, the love seems to have gone. You guys are no longer as or what not as you used to be. So what I try to do is I try to take the time to realize, okay, what really happened and what did I bring to the table? And the reason why I say what did I bring to the table? Sorry, I've got something in my eye. Or we all bring past hurts or past issues in a situation. And when we do that, we unknowingly are bringing pain and hurt, negative energy, unhealed chakra, all into the play, into the mix. And typically, what we're doing is we're looking for this other person to either complete us or heal that wound. And in actuality, the wound needs to be healed from ourselves, from our own point of view. The wound needs to be healed in our own space and energy. And we have to examine it, and we have to examine what this is, where it came from, and then begin to heal that. So tonight, the first area that I'm going to go to is talking about, what most therapists, I'm not a therapist, but what most therapists will start talking about. And that is what happened in childhood. Because if we think about it, our mothers and our fathers are the first two people that show us how to have a relationship. Mothers teach their daughters how behaves in a relationship. Mothers teach their sons how to treat a woman in a relationship. Fathers teach their sons behave and then teach their daughters how to expect to be treated. If we go back to that view and look at it as objectively as possible, that's where we can find the beginnings of the first breadcrumbs on this journey, right? Of why I keep attracting the same type of person. And I'm sure all of us have said to ourselves, if we really look at our relationships, we'll say, okay, each person, they may have been different. Their faces are different. Their body shapes are different. Maybe they did different things for work or what have you. They may have come from different parts of the country. But I guarantee you, if you look deep enough, you will find that there are some commonalities. There are some things that are just the same. For instance, when I was younger, I would deal with men that I felt like I could control in some way. Either I had more education than them or I was making more money than them, whatever the case, there was some area I felt like I could control them. And this was in my 20s, probably on into about my 30s. And I sat back and I was like, what am I doing? Why do I keep choosing the same type of person? Why do I seek to control every situation? It was then that I started analyzing my mother and father's relationship. Now, my mom and dad were married until I was 35. They had 35 years of marriage. And I had to really look at that relationship and say, what did I learn from my father? What did I learn from my mom? At that age, I was really only interested in learning. I really could only fathom what I was learning from my dad. And from my dad's point of view, my dad was a breadwinner, was a homemaker. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Keisha. Um, Standpoint, when I analyzed my mother's and my father's relationship, my father being the breadwinner, and my father was virtually a narcissist. I didn't recognize it until much later on in life. But for him, money, like because he was the breadwinner, the sole breadwinner for the majority of it, money was the controlling factor. So whoever controlled the money controlled the relationship, controlled everything in the relationship, could tell anybody what to do and how to do it and when to do it and how high to jump. And that's when I realized that in my desire to not be controlled, I sought out men that I could control in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So I mean by we go back and if we look at the first examples we have of what a relationship looks like, there's clues there as to why we choose the people that we choose. And that's the first amount of baggage that we bring along for the plane ride. That's the first thing. So that's why I say let's start looking at the childhood relationships. What did our mom teach us about how to be a woman? I had many friends who, mom and dad weren't together. Either they had divorced or they just never were for very long. Excuse me. And they had a number of different boyfriends, right? Throughout my friend's childhood. That affected the girls one way and the boys another way, right? So they're looking at this woman, looking at a woman and saying, well, this is what you do. You get men that make sure they're paying for this or make sure they're doing that or make sure, you know what I mean? It's a personal relationship. And they also didn't see a consistent relationship. They did not see a consistent person in their lives. So therefore, when to be women, adult women, they were unable to maintain consistency in their relationships. They were unable to keep a relationship very long. They never saw that as a young girl, and that's how they learned to be women. The boys, it was, well, everyone can't stay with one man very long. They kind of lose respect for women. It's not that they don't respect their mama. They've lost respect for women because this is what they learn. So when we're starting to seek to heal from heartache, that's usually the first area I say, how was your relationship growing up? How was that mother-father relationship? What happened there? And what did we learn from that? Now, the beautiful thing is, as adults now, we can take that, we can look at it, and I'm not saying, you know, your mother was a horrible person. I'm not saying my father was a horrible person or my mom was a horrible person. What I am saying is they did the best they could with the tools they had at the time. And unfortunately, those bad tools they passed on to me and my brothers. But now as an adult, I have the opportunity to go back and look at that from 30,000-foot view and say, oh, wow, that's where I get that from. And then that's the area you start working on. So we start there. If it's uncomfortable to start there, start at the last 3, 4, 5 relationships you've had and say, what are the common denominators between all of these people other than me? Because of accountability we have to take in this. What is it? What is it that attracted me to that person? Why? This is not for the faint of heart to look into oneself and really see it for what it is. But it is now if we're going to grow in our spiritual gifts and grow in our destiny and become whole people, healed people, people that are that basically are peaceful inside and positive. Because all of these pieces, as we put them together, then we begin to be able to love ourselves. Because we take the good, the bad, the ugly, and we look at it and we're like, oh, I don't really like that about myself. What can I do to change that? Where did that come from? Why do I do these things? That's where we have to start. So you can't start in child. Sometimes we can't start there. Start with the last few relationships. What's your common denominator? As I got older, the common denominator wasn't so much people that I could control, but it was people that really there wasn't a high respect for me. That they were takers. They were energy suckers, right? They would just siphon the energy out of me on up to the marriage that broke up to the narc. So I had to look at that day when the marriage ended. I was heartbroken. I waited 25 years to get remarried. And this is what I get, a cheat that was emotionally abusive? How horrible is that? Right? What is that all about? So I had to look and say, why did I bring this man into my life? Why did I choose to marry this man? What is it about me that not only attracted but had desire to keep? And what was it about me that did not feel like I deserved to be loved and respected, honored, and cherished? It is about the healing after heartache is a journey of self-discovery. And you may not like what you see when you pull back the curtain, but you need to look at it no matter what and then heal it. You need to identify the problem. You need to do the triage on yourself, and then seek to. So when we're starting to heal it, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, even begin. Journaling is a wonderful place to begin. Writing down your feelings, emotions, writing down that, okay, I chose him because he presented A, B, C, and D. Then it turned into X, Y, and Z, and we could not get along with each other. What happened in between that time? What happened? Why could I not see X, Y, and Z when it first started? Right? Why could I not see that? I have no idea. Then you start looking at, well, what was it about me that all wanted this? What was it? For me, I was attracted to my ex because he was reminding me of my father. Honest, I'm a daddy's girl. Daddy's been gone 9 years now. So I put my blinders on, but I didn't want to see anything else. I didn't see that he was emotionally abusive. I didn't want to see that he was a cheater. I didn't want to see any of that. And I could have, and I should have, and I honestly did. I just refused to look at it. So healing after heartache says, okay, what is it that I didn't see first? Why didn't I see it? What truly mean? That's when I realized I still had unresolved daddy issues. And believe me, at 40 some odd years old, to realize you see issues, that's a wake up call. It's a wake up call. And that's how I began this discovery, chakra and energy healing. Because I didn't know. I went to this, I went to that, all the places I normally go. Like, y'all are not giving me the answers I really need. That's when I started go inward and it really do self-examination. That's when I discovered I had become my mother, married a narcissist for 35 years. That's when I discovered I didn't really like myself. Realized that one at 40 some years old. You put up this awesome front all these years that, yeah, I'm confident, I'm that, I'm successful, I'm all these things. And in reality, there's still a little girl that doesn't feel loved. Healing from heartache. Healing from heartache is discovering and admitting that there is unresolved pain and seeking to resolve that. How do we do that? Now, that's going to be a very lengthy discussion, right? I want to talk to a little bit about that healing process, how you even first identify it. So you can identify first layers, recent history. And even if you got to start writing down characteristics about people, and when I say characteristics, I don't mean necessarily they're all over 6 feet tall and they're all buff and they're all this or they're all that. I mean characteristics about, because I can guarantee you're going to find out that there are commonalities in all of them. So what are the common denominators? Were they all self-centered? Were they all in a situation where you were the one putting in the most of the money into the relationship? Now I'm ownership, but I'm not about a one-way ticket. I'm no sugar mama. So, but were they all kind of seeking that? Maybe on the slide. Were they all men that didn't necessarily buy you gifts, but always wanted gifts? Were they all men that always chose everything to do and never had any interest in doing anything to do? I'm just starting to throw some things out there. Were they selfish in bed? I mean, this is just real adults here. Were they selfish in bed? All these things, I can guarantee you start writing all these things down to relationships, you're going to find some commonalities. And then when you find the commonalities, then you can say, why in the heck? What was I thinking? Why do I keep choosing this person? So if it's somebody, let's just say, that never wants to, that's the thing that you want to do. And you kept saying, well, honey, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to try this, or I don't really like wrong me. Um, oh, good. I'm glad, dear. I really rock climbing, honey. I would just rather like to walk by the lake. I don't need the adventure, right? And he keeps on saying, yeah, but whatever, you need to go. We're going to go rock climbing anyway. So if it's that type of person, and I'm just giving one silly example there, but if it's that type of, that says to me then that you're a person that doesn't feel that your needs are valid and shared for. That says to me that's a person that doesn't truly value themselves. Well, why don't you value yourself? What is it about yourself? Why? Then we have to take some other steps. We got to look back a little bit further. We got to look back to childhood and teenage life and see where that non-validation of your wants and needs and desires comes in at. This self-discovery is bit by bit, moment by moment. It's not a sprint. Some of us get these lessons free, and some of us it just takes time, but it's okay either way. So if you're one that doesn't value yourself and doesn't, you can say, well, I don't feel, maybe you don't feel heard. Well, perhaps there's something, right? If we're going to go to the chakra system, say that's a person whose power center is either underdeveloped or just not really functioning well, and probably a bit of the sacral as well. And the result is the throat chakra doesn't really work. It's not, you're not able to really get out your feelings. Hello, Liam. You're not really able to get out your what your express yourself because you don't feel it's going to be valued. A person that doesn't value their wants, needs, and desires, I would say we would look at your power chakra and your sacral chakra and see what the issues are there. If this person came to you and was always wanting money or needed a bill paid or needed this done or needed that done, and that's why you get breaking up. If this is kind of a common theme throughout your last few relationships and you kept giving, giving, and giving, your heart chakra is a little out of line. You haven't set up proper boundaries. Your root chakra is probably not very grounded. You feel like you should be giving this person money like that. Why can't they take care of themselves? So by identifying the commonalities, we're then able to go to the area that needs the healing. That, going to someone that does energy healing, that Reiki, that sort of thing, that's where we come in at, able to help you analyze. And you can do some of that analysis on your own. It's always good, though, to have someone to bounce that off of. You can sit with yourself and just meditate and just ask God, Lord, show me which thing you want me to work on. Show me the first area that needs to be healed. And believe you me, it'll happen. And in the meditative state and allowing love and light to shine through and come through your system, come into your spirit being, then to start to heal that particular area. Okay? So, yeah, Liam. Yes, God loves you. Okay. So that's, I wanted to do just a really kind of introduction into that. So the assignment for, if you're seeking the healing until the next time we talk, healing from heartache, is to take, let's go with relationships. I'll start answering some questions in just a minute, Mr. Liam. Okay, just give me just a moment. So the assignment from this session is to take your last few relationships, write down the commonalities, the common characteristics of the individuals. Just start writing them down. And then we can go from there and start analyzing what areas really are the areas that are hurting and still need healing. That's the first part to healing from heartache. Thank you, Keisha. That's beautiful. That is beautiful, and that's so very true. Okay, Liam. Yes, what Keisha said is absolutely true. Let's ask a question here. You said, is Grandpa still with you? Your grandpa will be with you forever. He is an eternal, just like you are. What questions do you have, Liam? So, Miss Keisha, the next time I see you, my dear, I'm going to make sure that you've done your homework. And then we'll start going through characteristics and what chakras. There's some parts for healing because this is not a quick process, but that's the first place we start to look. Well, I